Hey, Mr. Bullis. This
Hi.
is our Waiting by Hajin review. We did
Review?
not like it. we did not like it.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Christy Lore, 12th grader, if you didn't know.
I'm Yusuf Al-Hasba.
I am Nicholas Yang.
And I am Maddie Tatham. You are so lucky I'm doing this because I had an allergic reaction this morning.
To some detergent, but she's stronger than detergent. Woo!
But this was more exciting than the
Yeah.
book.
For real.
Let's start with the journey of our favorite main character, Lynn. So, me personally, it was I guess you could say he was waiting on his journey.
Yeah.
The
For-
title makes sense.
Yeah, for 18 years. In that 18 years, his whole kid grew up, which is crazy.
His kid grew up.
Yeah, his kid grew up.
And he had new kids at the end of the book.
Right.
He had twins.
Why did he name his kids River and Lake?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
I didn't like that.
Was there some symbolism with that? Because I'm not even sure myself. Because when they came out like, oh, River, oh, Lake, I was like, really? Really? I mean, like, River's a cool name, but Lake?
What were they? Born in a lake?
Yeah. Born in the river?
Anyways.
Yeah,
Anyways, that was off topic.
yeah.
My bad.
Lynn's journey, it was quite a journey. It was just a back and forth of just like, we should get married, but I don't want a divorce, but I do want a divorce. We should get married. And then it just repeats over and over again.
Yeah. And like in between, he would be like, "Do I even love Mano for real?" And I'm like, every time I read that, I was like, "Do you?" Because I'm starting to question it too. Like I think in his journey, at this point, since he had waited so long, he just decided to keep waiting longer. Since he'd already been waiting like 6, 7, 8 years, he was like, "Might as well. Another 10 wouldn't hurt or something."
Yeah. What I thought about in this book a lot was just that like he's so indecisive and like just I don't know if this is the correct like word to use, but like self-centered, if that makes any sense, because he like thinks of what he wants and like doesn't think of like the consequences of what would happen.
To the women.
I see that.
That he's
like,
with,
think of,
yeah.
like the woman and the surroundings. I mean, like he does. He pays attention to his reputation.
I think that's
But-
the only thing he's concerned about.
Yeah, just his reputation.
But go on.
I think another part of his journey had a lot to do with him just
Just
I don't know,
waiting.
just waiting, just like going along with the flow for real, if you know what I mean.
Maybe that's why. Sorry, bit off topic, but maybe that's why he named his kid River. But also, like, going with the flow, you know.
Yeah.
But what do you think was the most exciting part of his journey?
Before we get to that topic, pretty much it hit one big major climax and then it was strictly just waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting. I mean, it was literally the middle of the book. Everything happened. It was
Yeah.
boring at the beginning and then waiting at the end. It's like literally that mountain that we go through.
The climax, unfortunately, was like the worst part of the book.
Yeah.
But
But yeah.
I really feel like they did skip over that so fast.
Mhm.
They did.
Yeah.
I had like that question like in my mind, like why did they skip over Mana's rape? No, like they talked about it for like one chapter, and then it was just brushed off as if it like never happened, never again.
Yeah, I wanted to see how it affected their relationship more because something like that is very like traumatizing for her and like also him, sort of.
I wanted to see how Mana would get through it too. Like, would she change after that? Like, with men around her as well?
Yeah, but the most we saw was that she just got really sickly and pale and skinny,
Yeah.
which is like yes, but also there's so much more to that than just like
Yeah,
getting
and-
sick.
And she was scared of that pregnancy scare too, as well.
Yes.
After that,
Oh
with
my
being
God.
pale and sick. I mean, it was all signs. But she was just scared.
Can you imagine how good of a story would be if she had? Wow, this sounds really messed up. But if
Okay,
she,
no, I get it. I
yeah,
get it.
you get it. You get it. Okay, Nick understands.
Going back to Lynn, I do think he was going with the flow. I think he was just like kind of in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got that a lot.
I
He just cared about himself. He didn't care about the women because they get affected more in that culture than the guy. To where whatever he did, he would get scolded for what, be on leave for like a month or whatever.
Yeah.
But the women would be ridiculed in public, have that reputation ruined. Their status would drop.
Yes.
I'm like, whoa.
I feel like Len, the most he ever cared about women was what they looked like. He constantly, like, anytime anything happened to, like, the women around him, the first thing he'd think of, oh, she looks sickly and pale and gross and skinny, but not in the good way. And I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, because Shuyu with her small feet, she got that whole surgery on them and everything.
And I was like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, I don't think, like, appearance is that, I know it was that big of a deal back then, but like Shuyu's bound feet in the very beginning, I don't think it's that big of a deal, to be honest. Because it's kind of like, who, you meet a new person, do you automatically just like look down at their feet and be like, gross, like.
No, but like, I feel like that, just that part and instances of that, of just like her small feet and just like every single time appearance was mentioned was just like, I took that as taking Chinese culture and like trying to express that into like 1950s communist China.
Yeah.
And like how people were back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It was very sad how judgmental they were, but it wasn't even like Shuyu's fault that her feet were bound at like such a young age.
But I feel like that's common now still. At
Bound
least in
feet?
I don't know. At least in like my culture, I guess. My Filipino side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I was like, we are like both of like,
Yeah,
you're
no.
half of my culture too.
Yeah.
It was really rough for Manna to go through all that, especially when she was the younger, top of her class nurse that came in, and all this happened. I mean, she was good status at the beginning, but once she met Lin, and then Mei Dong, who was at the beginning, the first love who left her for his cousin for the green card. Really, dude? Your cousin? I mean, okay, because I know that's normal in some areas, but I'm like,
Alabama.
whoa. And he hated where he was stationed at, too, so he did that for the green card. To where I was very surprised by that, because the dude was so adamant for her,
Yeah.
and then just left her. I was like, what?
Relating to that, I'm surprised, like, time and time again, she is, like, traumatized by men, but we don't really, like, see that in the books.
Yeah.
Like, Mai Dong, and then Lin was, like, an 18-year trauma, and then, like, Gang Yang. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, I kind of did wish we saw more of Manna, and not just, like, Lin's perspective and him being, like,
I thought Manna was actually a little more gullible with men. I mean,
I
it was
thought so,
one after another with men to where it was easy for her. She got over the first dude after a couple months. Then it was Lin, and then it all went down with Gang Yang. And, like, it was rough. Like, she kept going. Well, she never fell in love with Gang Yang. We all know that.
she was really strong.
Yeah,
I
she
feel
was
like
strong, though.
in the book, I remember them talking about, a couple characters were mentioning how it was just like normal for women, like back then. Do you remember when Hayan, her like quote unquote best friend, was like,
Yeah.
like I get it, it happens. It happened to somebody else before.
Yeah, it was
No,
so
and, like,
sad.
It really like opened my eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And she's just like, oh, yeah, it happens sometimes. Like, what?
So,
Yeah.
like, you just
she-
casually said that?
Yeah, she was just so, like, casual about that. And then I don't think that was really the right thing to say to Manna when she was, like, still, like, grieving over being, like, you know, like, assaulted like that. And then Hyan's like, oh, yeah, it happens sometimes. Like, that's not really the best way to support your friend right now.
Yeah. And then Lin, weirdly enough, was angry but didn't do anything.
I literally thought he was going to do... It would have been so much better if he had gotten, like, more emotional into it. At least gotten mad, even though it would have been, like, silly for him to get mad over. But, like, we still would have seen, like, his perspective and their time and how if a woman got raped, then how the men would react.
Yeah.
You know?
Instead, he just waited.
Like the bug, like the bug.
And going back to what you said about it earlier too, I wish they put it on more instead of just like they talked, Lynn got angry, done and over with, back to the court. I'm like, what? I wish we saw the development in their relationship, that Lynn would help Manna through this instead of just getting mad and then move to the next courthouse.
I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was back in when Manna was giving labor. She was getting mad at Lynn for not paying off Bangsheng for like some money so that he would be more okay with them getting divorced, because he was one of the main reasons why they didn't get divorced. And it's shown multiple times that Bangsheng is that like greedy, monetary, like materialistic person, and I feel like yes, he does care for his sister, and he also cares for his niece Hoa. But at the same time, at the end of the day, he was more angry at the fact that he didn't get everything from like the farm property, the country property, from Lynn and everything.
You think that's why he had an ulterior motive to like for them not getting divorced, so that way like
Yeah,
they could have,
Because he was greedy, like you said. He was greedy for the land, the money. That was the whole point of the arranged marriage. And having the heir, too. Yeah.
It's kind of sad how when it comes to Beijing, how him and his wife weren't able to have any kids. Maybe then he would have learned how to, like, give a little more or something. Yeah. I would have loved to see, like, some, like, Beijing kids. It would have been fun, I feel like. But, like, I do like the connection that him and Hua had with each other, and how, like, eventually she saw him more as a father figure than her own dad.
Yeah.
Can you guys relate yourselves to any of the characters in these books?
That's really hard.
Yeah, it
I
is.
can.
It's so hard.
I can.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so my family is horrible with marriages and commitment. It's not personally on my side, but it's with my dad's younger brother's stepsons. Yes, I'm getting the family tree right. But anyways, they had commitment issues a lot, and they had kids at a young age as well. They didn't go through divorces at all, but they were on and off with the mothers, to where one of them actually led them into court and put him in jail. Yeah, that was only for one night, though. He survived. He was fine. He's used to it. And there's two of them that had kids. Well, actually, three of them had kids. But all the kids, they didn't care about the kids in the situation, too. To where in my family, it was strictly just the mothers were crazy. I think one of them should be in the asylum. But, anyways. I mean, this girl was crazy. Mm-hmm. Anyways, they all had their issues and all that. It's just, they didn't deal with divorce. They were just on and off for years. The kids are 11, so it's been 11 years.
On and off for 11 years? That's crazy.
One of them called off their engagement to someone else to be with one of the... Yeah.
They're for real, like, the Manna...
She did it twice.
They're, like, the real-life Lynn, Manna, and Shuyu.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because when we were reading this book, I had that whole situation going on in front of me. I'm, like, looking at the pages, like, my family. Are they reading the script as well?
I feel like the only way I can apply this to my life is just, like, the reputation part of it, because like, you know, Asian culture, reputation means everything. And my mom and dad, they're like fresh off the boat type of people. They like came from like, you know, they walked with their feet, you know what I mean, you get the gist, right? Yeah, they're fresh off the boat. And so, you know, to them reputation meant everything too, because they're so used to like how things were in like their country and stuff. And so just like whenever me and my sisters do anything, specifically my sisters, right? So there's 4 of us. So whenever me and my sisters started like wanting to go out and hang out with our friends and just doing like, you know, normal kid stuff, like I'm 10 years younger than my siblings, right? And so whenever my sister Katie, she had tried like going out, being a teenager, she was 18, she wanted to have fun and stuff, right? Mom and Dad were like, no, imagine what people think of us. You know what people tell me about you? And then I remember being a little kid and I'd be like, who cares? Who really cares? Because if they really want to think about us that way, let them think about us that way. Because at the end of the day, like, they don't know anything. And it's just like, they'll be judgmental all they want, but like, so what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I felt that so hard.
Yeah.
Right.
The fam. Oh, sorry.
I'm
Nick.
sorry.
I just want to add, like, the whole reputation part didn't really play a factor in my side. How I went on about the kids and the moms. It didn't really play a factor because they're my cousins. They're about 10 years older than me as well.
Yeah.
They dropped out of high school at sophomore year. They're garbage truck drivers. I mean, that family doesn't really have a reputation. It was just a lot of drama and court visits. I was like, whoa, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, never. I'm an only child.
I'm an only child.
You're
I
an
got too
only
many
child?
cousins.
Oh, no, I was an only child.
Oh, that's right. You
But
got your
for
little
most
brother.
of my life, it was always my mom telling me, "You're my only child, so you gotta do this and then do that," and then just like so much drama and reputation talk.
Yeah. It's just kind of like thinking.
What about you, Yusuf? Connect to this at all?
It's really hard connecting to this book, but
That's very fair. It's
Yeah. There's not much to
it's
say.
mostly trauma.
yeah.
Yeah. Guess the one thing I learned from waiting was kind of just like more of an insight into how the culture was back then. Even though I already kind of
Yeah.
knew, I kind of already knew, but it just kind of gave me more of an insight to maybe that's why they passed over Mana's rape so fast, because to them it's just like, oh, you got raped, and then just move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So maybe you get what I'm saying? You get the connection I'm making here.
Yeah, I do.
It's just kind of an insight into how their culture worked back then. It's just move on.
Yeah, I learned the same thing because I didn't know much of Chinese culture way back then. So I was very surprised to where they just brush off all that sorts of stuff. And you look at today's world, that's all police stuff now. That was just left alone for a day and then continue your day at work the next day. All right.
It's kind of scary how fast they brushed off a lot of things, though.
Yeah.
Because it really made it seem like they didn't care, and maybe that's why generational trauma and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe because so many generations have just been oh, this happened, move on from it. And then the more generations you go, the more messed up the kids get, because they receive that trauma
Yeah.
too from their
And that was
parents
18 years of divorce too.
Yeah.
Just on and off in courthouses, seeing your
I mean,
parents.
it's not that they had a bad relationship.
No, that's true.
It's just
A kid
an
can take
affair.
yeah. It's just a kid can only take a certain amount of divorce, back together, divorce, or divorce, pause, divorce.
Yeah.
Just every year.
Imagine-
Plus that judge though too was on Shuyu's side with her brother.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. He Ben Chin put it all towards Lin to sabotage him and everything, and ask certain questions to Shuyu to make them say no.
Yeah, I think the judge kind of he had no choice, or else his courthouse would have been wrecked.
That's true.
How do you think, Hua, right? Can you imagine how sad it must be to know your dad's coming each year just to divorce your mom, and and then he was kind of surprised. He was like, "Oh man, these years she's been so distant from me lately."
I don't think she cared.
Really?
No, because at the end of the book, Hua was like, "Oh my gosh, you're my dad."
She totally
No,
loved
right?
Bangsheng. Yeah.
No, she was like, "Who cares about my uncle? You're my dad."
my like, it was just like,
She just brushed it off.
it was just a shift. It was just like, oh yeah, Bangsheng's been like my pretend dad for so many years, but bye pretend dad, I'm going with my real one. It's just
Yeah.
kind of like,
When he comes back after the divorce finally succeeds through, like she like didn't care during the whole bit of it, and then open arms to the end of it. Well, I mean, yeah, I kind of figure 18 years. That's a little long there and tempting.
oh gee, I was so caught off guard by the end when he went back to Hua and them, right? Not Hua. Shuyu, when he went back to Shuyu, and he was like, "Can we be a family again? Amanda's dying in like 2 years," and I was,
No, yeah.
I was so caught off guard, and I was like, and then Shuyu, she was just like, "Yes, yes, we can be a family." Like she knew this entire time that he would come back. I felt. Did you guys get that feeling too? Like
Yeah.
she just kind of like
She just
waited.
waited.
Yeah,
no.
she maybe she was the one who was waiting. Whoa! Wait, that could actually be it though.
Whoa.
True.
No.
Yeah.
That's true.
Do you remember when she got the news that Mana was pregnant?
Yeah.
She was like, "What a welcoming addition to our family." I was like, "You're not married, bro."
They turned it for like one big happy family, like they all were together. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right. And Lynn just thought he could bounce back to the same woman because one's dying, he can go to the other.
It worked though, right?
It worked, but that's
Shoot.
messed up. I'm like, dude, you got the one you fighted for dying. You just want to go back to the one you tried divorcing for 18 years.
Dude, maybe that's why Shuyu's hair is at the front of this cover because she was the one waiting. That would make so much sense. She was waiting for her man to man up. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Oh, we're so smart, you guys.
I think the one thing that really stuck with me with the book is it's not even that I learned it. It's just that it was like it became more relevant in the book. Is that like nonconformism? Nobody would like conform all the way and just like do what people want. Like everyone in the book, every single person, like just like didn't care of what other people said, but like at the same time they did. But they also had like their own agendas and like ignored like communist China, ignored like laws and stuff.
They kind of did.
Like
yeah.
like just like dramas and gossip and just like it's just like breaking laws and stuff. You feel me? I don't know if it's like a big part of the book, but it's just 1950s communist China, right?
Yeah. I feel like the part that really stuck with me was about like more concerning your topic, right? And like conforming and all that, about like how after Mana had gotten like raped and stuff, everyone started treating them like a normal couple. The rules didn't apply to them no more, even though it had been applying to them for like the last 17 years. But suddenly she like gets assaulted, and now the rules don't matter anymore. That kind of confused me because I was like, why?
Is it
Why
because she's
that?
no longer virgin? Is that was the whole thing too?
Maybe. I was thinking that too because I was like, is it because she's no longer like valuable or something?
Okay, like small pause. Why did Lynn do that? Why did Lynn go like, yeah, my lover's a virgin? That's like nice, bro. You didn't have to like. All right. Well, overall, what's your?
I say 2 out of 10.
Okay, that's 3.
Out of
No,
5.
5.
I think it depends on who reads it.
True.
It's true.
I wonder what his 6 hour thinks still. Cause
I don't understand why this is your favorite book
yeah.
out of the selection.
It was definitely a long read for sure because we were definitely for sure waiting. But I mean, it was worth it for class though to come together and work on this book together.
Yeah, all this.
I mean, it
waiting.
wasn't that bad.
It was something. Like, let's say there's 5 stars, I'd give it like half a star. Yeah. If I could give it 0 stars.
What about you, Yusuf?
Like I said, I mean, It depends on who reads it. Some
So
people
say
might
it was
like
you
it.
So
yeah.
you did read it. So what would your ranking be on it?
I mean, it was pretty boring. So,
It's out of 10, dude.
so 2 out of 10.
Thank you. Anyways,
Yeah, that is our
Socratic session for
Session.
Waiting by Hodgin.
yep. Thank you, Mr. Bullis, for this opportunity.
Yes, thank
This is
you.
really cool.
Thank you for letting me read this for like 4 weeks. It was
Yeah.
nice. I bought it for $11 to be bored. Okay.
No, but we can't wait to see what our nonfiction unit will be like for us with our sorts of different books that we chose.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mr. Bullis.
I chose one on procrastination. Thank you. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.